Hi, I'm Peter J. Ray. Welcome to Adventures in History. Today's topic is Dearest, Mother and Dad. Shaw Ray's Letters to Her Parents, 1961, Part 131. 20689 Beechcliff Boulevard, Rocky River, Ohio, September 25th, 1961. Dear Mother and Dad, thank you for the nice birthday notepaper. I had thought of mentioning to you that I needed some. If you ever see that kind with the R on it again, I enjoyed using those too. Yes, I had a very nice birthday. At 10 o'clock, I had a meeting over at the house by the lake in the park to arrange a brownie troop for Pamela, so took Peter and Patti along. Patti was fine, but Peter was really wild, wanted to climb on the tables. He's a real boy. Then I took them on the swings and met Mark and Pam at school with the girl across the street from Canada. She's a doctor. Then after the naps, she invited me over for coffee. And when I got home to ice my birthday cake that I'd made, Ann White's came over with a birthday cake, white frosting with chocolate poured over, very festive. Then Mrs. Vogler came and we sang Happy Birthday, and I opened my gifts. A nice teacup and saucer, English from the Rays. And Pamela also bought me blue notes, and I had 12 lovely birthday cards. A wonderful one from John, Bud, Dick and Joan, Carol and Dave, Gertrude and Doran, the auxiliary, Pam, Olive and Connie. Pamela had bought and wrapped her gift herself, almost put on bridal paper. Then John took me to the Robin Hood Inn for a lovely roast dinner, cocktail first and then to see the movie The Exodus. So it was a nice birthday. The next evening we went on a J.C. cruise, and Saturday the Whiteses had us over, and the couple from Canada, and the Gregorys from Bay who bought next to the park. Sunday I taught Sunday school and was in a terrible mood all day. Pamela got up at 7:30 and so did Patti. Pam wanted to wrap her grandma a present. Then she complained about wearing the dress for Sunday school. Then Mark forgot his jackets, so we came back, and Peter complained about me fixing his pants, and we went to the park in the afternoon. John's folks and Helen Lacey came in on their way back from dinner at Ted Zook's. Ted and Evelyn were on a Caribbean cruise last month. I had a nice letter from Jenny today, so we'll stop in. We had Mark at the hospital again tonight. He was over at the Gregorys, the home next to Rocky River Park, and got too close to the edge of the top of the hill on a bicycle and fell all the way down to the beach. They brought him home all dirty and bleeding. The Canadian girl, who is a doctor, took us to the hospital, and Nan Gregory took Pam and Patti. They had to cut some of the flesh away on his ankle, as it was an odd wound, sort of a triangular puncture. Took 12 stitches, and he'll have a sort of hole there. They gave him a penicillin shot and a tetanus shot. Mark looks like a wounded soldier. I still don't have a cleaning woman, so I'm still tired. We're taking John's folks to a play Wednesday evening. John's mother's birthday was Saturday. She has a ruptured disc and still not all better. John took the kiddies to the Kensington School Carnival Saturday. Wonderful time. I bought a suit, sort of rusting green tweed check, and got that brown raincoat with the velvet collar and orange flame robe, soft, fluffy acrylion. Now hat, shoes, bag, gown, hair done, etc. Yes, wish you could all stop in here. Thanks again. Love, Ruth. 20689 Beechcliff Boulevard, Rocky River, Ohio, October 5th, 1961. Dearest Mother, the time is getting short and still lots to do. I still need some good walking shoes and warm night clothes. Hope to keep warm this time. Mark had his stitches out yesterday, but he's not all healed yet. We're just lucky we have him. A lady that saw him fall said it was just terrible. How near Atherton, Lancashire, where Dad was born, will we be? And are there any of Dad's relatives we could see? It might be nice to try anyway. Please send their address, airmail. Your birthplace, Southwold, Suffolk, England, is not on our route. Maybe we should have planned it to go there. I was so disinterested in this trip from the start that I left the planning to the travel agent. However, now I feel that this trip was a good thing to get me out of my doldrums. Anne's prayers have helped too. Having young children across the street is a real miracle, and Mark coming through his fall is too. We took Pamela to church this morning, communion. Pam took up her birthday offering. She looks so refreshing in her new red plaid dress. Patti has a cold. Love, Ruth. New York International Airport, Jamaica, New York, October 7th, 1961. Hi. Taking off just fine, a gorgeous day, and Mrs. Vogler drove us and the children to the airport. I thanked her, and she said, "Thank you for having 4 children for me to look after." One of Ann Duff's had to go to the doctor this morning, tonsillitis, and she had to get a new dryer yesterday. I have a lovely orchid to wear and everything, umbrella, raincoat, rubbers, and fur. This is a good idea so far. Hope all is well at home. Love, and we'll let you know more. Love, John and Ruth. Cragston Wood Country Club, Ledsham, Cheshire, England, United Kingdom. Saturday, October 14th, 1961. Dear Mother, we're certainly having a wonderful trip. We visited Jenny today and her husband Ben and their son Paul. We had a nice tea and thoroughly enjoyed seeing them. Her husband is very nice and their son Paul a cute red-haired youngster. It must have been very close to Atherton where Dad was born. We've been so lucky in having fine weather on the trip. It's so convenient driving through Scotland and historic Edinburgh with the castles. Only 1 hour flying time from Ireland. We've had wonderful hotels too, all warm. We sent cards from Scotland to Mrs. Steele and the Nilsons so they can show them to you. You can save them for our scrapbook. I just phoned home, $10. Mrs. Vogler said she may be doing too much, but hope they're all fine. Peter is walking and too fat for his clothes. Do hope Mrs. Vogler doesn't overdo it. Good night. Love, John and Ruth. Shakespeare Hotel, Stratford-on-Avon, Warwickshire, England, UK. October 18th, 1961. Dear Mother and Dad, we still are enjoying a very fine trip. Imagine going around Shakespeare's home. His birthplace, Anne Hathaway's cottage, is a little easier for us by car than when you were here. We also visited his mother's home, occupied until 1930. 'Tis all very interesting. Also drove through Wales. We had a letter from John's mother, and she said Mrs. Vogler is really enjoying Peter and had just bathed him. She has taught him to walk and trying to teach him to talk and toilet train him. Ann Duff's mother is doing fine. I didn't realize she's 73. Aunt Nell, remember her? She's 79, helps Joan with her family as Joan is teaching full-time. She has a woman to help, but she's been sick. Joan is Wayne Duff's sister. We've also had wonderful meals. I feel I've gained about 10 pounds. We even had kippers for breakfast. I haven't had to use my rubbers or hot water bottle as the rooms are heated and the weather is good. We visited Blenheim Palace, where Winston Churchill was born, a truly magnificent palace. The cost about $18 million to build and full of Van Dyck paintings but in need of repairs. The interior was rather staggering, so lavish. Consuelo Vanderbilt was the 8th Lady Marlborough and lived there. Wednesday, we've really had a full time. I imagine London is a different looking London than you saw. There are still many, many bombed out areas downtown not yet rebuilt, and many, many new buildings. It seems so unexpected to see so many modern buildings. We visited St. Paul's Cathedral and climbed up to the Whispering Tower and Dome outside and had a good view of London. Part of St. Paul's that had been destroyed by bombs is just now opened up and restored. We visited the Tower of London and saw the magnificent jewels. Our guide had the head man there show us around and describe each item for us, for a tip, of course. There were so many children, school children there in the rain. We also saw the tower where the princes were. I remember you telling me about visiting these places. Westminster Abbey is in the process of being washed inside, and the ceiling is just gorgeous. They're gilding a lot of the altar and streaks in the ceiling. However, they're also painting some of the statues, and to me they look rather garish and like a Roman Catholic church, but it was tremendous and wonderful to see. We saw the changing of the guards, a cold process but very interesting, except surprising the band played tunes from My Fair Lady and Threepenny Opera. Queen Elizabeth was giving out awards and medals inside, so the officials were pouring out in their cars. We, of course, visited Madame Tussauds and the planetarium and the Palladium last night. Love, John and Ruth. Now, Ruth wrote a travel diary that was actually published in the latter part of Small Shop Family Memories Collection number 4. October 1961. Anne and Wayne Duff have been wanting us to take a trip with them for a couple of years. I suggested waiting until we had Peter John and our larger home. I still was not too eager for the trip, but John said, "If they can leave 6 children, we can leave 4. Then in August 1961, Anne phoned to say that she will be having her 7th child in February, and, "If we don't go now, I don't know when we will." Also, she didn't think they would go unless we did. Ireland seemed to be the starting point, and I felt we should include Paris, France. Mrs. Vogler consented to look after the children. The children, Pamela particularly, are looking forward to her coming. When I thanked her in advance, for without the trip would be impossible, she said, "Thank you for having 4 children for me to look after." Friday, October 6, 1961. Cleveland to New York to Shannon, Ireland. Beautiful day, sunny and warm. The children went to school and Peter spent the morning in his playpen. I changed the linens and washed them, made the beds, and packed our new Ventura luggage. New robe, new gown, new flat shoes, and a raincoat. I was very grateful when the kiddies went by at lunchtime. Ann Whites had invited them to lunch. Patti from nursery school. So very good of Anne. Mrs. Vogler came at 2:30 and we picked up the kiddies at school and all drove to the airport. There we met Anne and Wayne Duff. Bobby and Mary and their children and Mrs. Vogler took our family home. We had a good flight to New York and lunch. We were met by Wayne's cousin Cornell Duff and daughter Cassie. John helped Mary Pickford on the escalator. She and Buddy Rogers had been on our airplane. We left on a huge jet, 150 passengers, 5-hour flight to Shannon, Ireland. Marvelous. We had cocktails and dinner, 20 minutes of sleep and breakfast, and down at dawn in Ireland. October 7th. Shannon, Ireland to Killarney. A beautiful day, and it is green. At the Shannon airport, we discovered my luggage, and one of the Duffs left in New York. Then we went into the duty-free part and bought the girls pink dresses, mohair, and a mohair blanket for Mark. We drove to Bunratty Castle, where de Clare had O'Brien pulled to death by horses. We climbed to the top of the castle and saw a dungeon. Very impressed, quite a climb. Even have beamed ceilings. We drove to Adair and saw Dunraven Castle. and walked for miles around it on pebbly road in high heels, low in New York. My heels were in the New York luggage. We saw travelers, Irish gypsy-type people. The Irish are so soft-spoken, and the country is so soft and beautiful. The children in short pants and many in horse-drawn carts, some thatched roofs. To Great Southern Hotel in Killarney. We visited many small shops, so many of them very shy people. October 8th, Killarney to Cork. A bit rainy, soft clouds, and beautiful. We were up at 7:30 and went to communion in St. Mary's Church of Ireland, a very old church. Built in 1611, the first record and vicar, but even before, and it was rebuilt in 1871. I forgot my umbrella, and the minister brought it to us. We drove around the lakes of Killarney and the Ring of Kerry, all very picturesque. The towns have so many small shops, all carrying small items. The meat shops have beef halves hanging in the windows or open in the doors. They chop a piece off and wrap it in newspaper. The bakeries have buns and cakes, very cheap, 20 cents for a cake. The people are shy but friendly. Wonderful scenery. To Imperial in Cork. The luggage arrived, my flat shoes and raincoats. We had a good steak. October 9th, 1961. From Cork to Dublin. Rainy day. We had breakfast at the hotel and then went to Blarney Castle to kiss the stone. A very interesting castle. Then climbed to the top. We drove through much rainy weather and had a flat tire in New Ross, where President John F. Kennedy's father was born. Tried to find a tea and ended up in a hotel. It was quite windy and rainy, and the drive became dark. However, many people were out walking and cycling, even babies in carriages out in the rain and dark. We had a very spooky radio program on in the car while driving. Another beggar woman at the hotel door carrying a little child, asking for money, for she said she had no place to sleep. The diary breaks off here. 20689 Beechcliff Boulevard, Rocky River, Ohio, November 8th, 1961. Dearest Mother, I'm so sorry I haven't written. It was a wonderful trip. I've been very busy and tired. Your presence delighted Mark and Patricia. I'm glad the flowers are fine. It was John's idea, so thanks to him. Peter and Patti have coughs. Write tonight. Love, Ruth. 20689 Beechcliff Boulevard, Rocky River, Ohio, November 8th, 1961. Dearest Mother, I received your letter today and knew you'd be wondering, so that was why I had John mail you the brief note this morning. I am so busy and tired by evening that I just don't seem to get to letter writing, so got up at 7 o'clock this morning to drop you a note, write a few checks, and Mark's birthday invitations. It's 11 o'clock p.m. now, and just now for the first time I had a chance to look at our trip pictures. It was a truly wonderful trip. I'm so glad that I went. Really didn't want to, but I'm so lucky John takes the initiative. I gained pounds. So much food and an easy schedule, much easier than at home. John, Ann, and Wayne got tired and took naps while I shopped, but I found it much easier than my schedule here. And since I've been home, many nights I go to bed with the children. Last night, too. I don't even go back downstairs after they're in bed. The most astounding thing of all was only a 5-hour flight from New York to Shannon, Ireland, and you're in another world. 100 years ago, so quaint, beautiful, and poor, such a slow pace. Even the air was different. I'd like to visit there again. And driving and traveling, that was very relaxing. The weather was wonderful. Scotland, too, was so beautiful, and the English countryside, and Wales was lovely. I didn't get your letter. Another hotel we had, and only change on the schedule, I believe. Our train didn't sail as scheduled from London, and we were glad as 2 boats sunk that night, but our captain wouldn't sail. So we saw lots of French countryside the next day as the train was in no hurry. We enjoyed visiting Jenny and wish I'd detoured to see Mrs. York and any others. Meeting people makes it more interesting. Paris, France is a lovely city, so well laid out and not so cramped as London with its narrow streets. London still has much bomb damage from the Second World War and many new buildings. We enjoyed the Louvre in Paris. We went to Moulin Rouge and saw the Can-Can. The nightclubs featured girls without shirts on. The food was very good and the prices very high. They see the tourists coming and really take all they can get. Did some fine shopping, got smocked dresses for the girls in Ireland and a mohair blanket for Mark, and John bought me a mohair skirt and a white wool suit. I got a plaid tartan kilts for the girls in Scotland, cashmere sweaters, scarves, and got perfume in Paris, and a set of Swedish stainless steel. Patti invited 19 children for her party last Saturday. 12 came, so she had quite a time. They were all good, and we had a fine time. The Whiteses have had us over, and the Shelleys across the street to a party last Friday, and Shar McQuilkin last Saturday. The Junior Museum is sponsoring the Harlem Globetrotters Friday, so we're going there. John sold 14 $5 tickets, patron tickets. Peter and Patti have coughs and bad earaches while we were away. Peter didn't know me when I got back and pushed me away and hid his face. He's still very unhappy. Mrs. Vogler loved him so much. He's walking fine and no playpen anymore. John's won 2 big cases since we returned, one down in Columbus in the Supreme Court of Ohio. His office took in $20,000 in fees in October while we were away, $4,000 in one fee last Friday. John's earned $17,000 in the first 9 months of this year. Unfortunately, it's spent and lots of income tax to pay, about $3,000. We have been looking at houses. We'll have to have our ceilings repaired and the wallpaper done, about $500. I joined a Baycrafters art class and joined the Rocky River Junior Women's Club and went to a tea last Sunday. We visited Pam's teacher yesterday and Mark's tomorrow. My cleaning woman didn't show up for Mrs. Vogler, so I'm trying another new one tomorrow. Our helicopter reservation in New York wasn't listed, so they chartered a private plane for John and me. Quite a sensation. A little plane after the big jets, a beautiful sunset, and just felt like a bird. I'm exhausted. Night-night. Love, John, Ruth, Mark, Pamela, Patti, and Peter. P.S. Mark was thrilled with his kit, and Patti with her dollies. We got Mark a watch like Bud, and like Bud got Pamela, and may get him a puppy. To be continued. Now, there are 2 letters to the editor based on the original publication, and the first is from my sister Patricia. Dear Peter, I loved reading about you as a baby, with all of your laughing like Dad. Also, I had someone to be my buddy while Mark and Pam went to school and stopped teasing me. Love, Patti. Patricia A. Ray, M.D., Brookline, Massachusetts. And the second letter is from Tessa J. Delina, the former secretary of Restless Educational Center in Quezon City, Philippines. Dear Mr. Ray, hello. Greetings to you and your family. Please bear with me whenever my letter to the editor is sometimes delayed. I seem to be caught in a whirlwind of activities most of the time, but I am always looking forward to reading the next issue of these series. Well, issue number 53 was so enjoyable to read. I must agree with your mom that you were so cute and endearing here when you crawled out of your playpen and looked at the sky and just laughed, pure joy. Even your mom was not able to get a picture of you, and she was able to write it down in a letter to your grandmother, and here you are finally documenting it. I think these will be forever etched in your minds. In this issue, it seems that Ruth has finally come out of her bout with depression. The trip she and John did some wonders for her. Driving and traveling, that was very relaxing. Beautiful sunset and Just felt like a bird. It was truly a wonderful trip. I guess reading the attached article, Main Street Meditations, really made my day. Such a moving article. To reminisce all those simple pleasures in life and the sheer joy it has given us. All these are treasures to last a lifetime and can be a springboard where one draws out inspirations when they feel like it. Thanks once again for this wonderful issue. More power to you. Sincerely yours, Tessa J. Delina, Quezon City, Philippines. Well, that concludes today's presentation. Good luck to you with your efforts in family history. If this interests you, finding, preserving, and sharing old letters, diaries, photographs, family movies and videos, and interviewing elderly relatives while they're alive, you might consider checking out our website, Adventures in History with Peter J. Ray at peterjray.com. So far, we've made 704 history videos in 7 areas: world history, American history, book reviews, poetic tours, Cleveland baseball, family history, and autobiography. There's a donate feature. You might consider making a donation so we can continue making these videos. If you live in Metro Manila, Philippines, and are looking for a high school, you might consider Restless Educational Center. Restless is located on Allenby Street, not far from the corner of P. Guevara and Wilson Street in San Juan, Metro Manila, Philippines. At Restless, we specialize in helping young people who have had difficulty in the larger traditional high schools. Restless is more than a school, it's a warm, supportive community, and we strive to be creative and innovative so the students enjoy going to school. And the website is ressalest.education, RESALEST. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. God bless you. Take care. And I'll see you next time.